let's get into these last couple of topics because honestly, these K thoughts, they seriously make me sick. The way you niggas move, the way you niggas spin narratives and do all of this weird shit, it's really questionable at this point. Let's jump into the next topic. We got what's the dirt with a new video, how to strangle a goat. He going in and breaking down this Kendrick Lamar strategy and how he defeated quote unquote Drake. So let's get into what he got to say. We're gonna do a live reaction to this one. I haven't watched this yet. Always here for some good content. So let's just see what he got going on with this one.
Right, impeccable. Let's just be real here. Like, the guy hasn't made a single mistake. Kendrick daydreamed about destroying Drake for a very long time, and in 2024, I believe he crafted a calculated strategy, a master plan that we're gonna call "How to Strangle a Goat."
The black know how to strangle me a goat.
So, how do you take down a powerhouse like Drake? Well, a lot of rappers wouldn't be up to the task because most of them are missing a critical piece that Kendrick has had for a very long time. This is the secret sauce that can't be purchased, can't be taught, or replicated. Without this element, Kendrick's strategy wouldn't even exist, and the beef wouldn't have happened in the first place.
Now, let me just give my perception of things before we dive into this video of why I think Kendrick took this opportunity to go at Drake. And it's a little bit of a couple of things, but mainly being because, you know, Drake is at odds with his label. He was at odds with his label for the more and more we listen to Fat D, the more and more we realize that Drake is starting to feel some type of way about his label. You know what I'm saying? He's starting to feel some type of way. And we went into this in a couple of episodes. I'm not really sure which one, but we broke this down and talked about this at length. And you know, Drake was 100% upset with his label and what was going on there. So, you know, I think that was a part of Kendrick's strategy in going at Drake and saying the iron's hot, it's time to strike. He's not going to have this backing, this support. He's not going to be, this is not Drake at his full strength. He got a lot of shit going on. He's going through renegotiation. He's mad with his label. He's at odds with them, so they're going to be reluctant to put the dollars that they usually put behind him. In my opinion, has a lot to do with that.
The precursor that fueled everything is the fact that Kendrick Lamar has an undeniable hatred towards Drake. And this was
that too. Kendrick Lamar admittedly is a fucking hater, like he said.
The ultimate setup for everything that he did. I believe both of these MCs knew at some point that they would one day clash, but I don't think Drake took it as serious because he didn't share that same hatred. Drake may have disliked Kendrick or was annoyed by him, but hate is a pretty strong word, and Kendrick definitely had this emotion with him.
Now let me say I'm the biggest hater.
Yeah, undoubtedly Kendrick Lamar is a fucking hater. Because at the end of the day, he had no real reason to start going at Drake just out of the blue. He just did. And then it turned into him calling him a pedophile and all this weird shit. So hey.
I don't believe for 1 second that 2024 was the first time Kendrick picked up a pen with the intention of going at Drake.
Definitely
I'm convinced he started crafting verses as far back as 2013. Taking notes, studying Drake's every move, every misstep, every rumor, and he carefully analyzed all the battles that Drake was already in.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I definitely think that's a part of it. Kendrick is a guy who likes to use the shock value and controversy to fuel his music and the eyes on him, and he's very good at that. So he of course was trying to line Drake for a while now. I think we've seen in some videos how this nigga was just talking about how he's just straight up jealous of Drake. His bitch is bumping Drake, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bitch don't even want to listen to his shit. She want to listen to Drake.
I was told by an inside source that Kendrick had a diss track for Drake back in 2021 with most of the same subject matter. So without this element of hatred for Drake, Kendrick would have never had the desire to construct this plan. But the first step of his ingenious strategy is what I like to call the moral man tactic. This one was critically damaging to Drake. Make no mistake, one of Kendrick's ingenious plays in this beef was his ability to portray Drake as a complete degenerate while casting himself in the most favorable light.
Yeah, casting him as a family man. He does no wrong. We know this, right? We know what the K-Dots say. This is their Lord and Savior, Kendrick Lamar. He can do no wrong. He's a family man, a father, da 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 da. Most of these niggas are upset too, you know, because at the end of the day, they didn't grow up with fathers and shit. So they love to see shit like that, right? So this is understandable.
This was a very straightforward strategy of framing one side as bad and the other side as good.
Facts.
And this worked flawlessly. One of the first things that Kendrick executed out the gate, and a huge part of his game plan, was to paint Drake as a pathological liar.
Fabricating stories on the family front, cause you heard Mr. Morale. I think somebody lied. A pathetic master manipulator. You lied about your Ghost Riders. You lied about your crew members. It was God's plan to show y'all the liar.
And this was a really smart move, because when Drake finally did levy allegations against Kendrick, people immediately wrote it off as Drake doing exactly what Kendrick said he was going to do. Continuously planting into the brains of the people that all they should be expecting from Drake is a whole bunch of bullshit was done with an extreme degree of intent. Don't listen to anything that guy says. It's all going to be a bunch of bullshit. And not only...
I'll argue that Drake kind of did the same thing, but it just didn't work on a degree because, well, he kind of did it to himself. So, but it just didn't work on a degree because people wanted Drake to lose. People wanted those things to be true. They still want it to be true to this day. And Kendrick knows that. Kendrick looked at that and said, these people are already pushed, like he knew the temperature was right. Niggas was already upset and this and that because they want these things to be true about Drake. They want a reason. It's like how we was talking about with Kaya a couple of minutes ago. These bitches, it's like how you see these bitches, they hate Kaya and they don't know what's the exact reason why. They just know they don't like the way they man is looking at this bitch. So I'm telling you, and they are going to poke and poke and poke and poke until they find a valid of enough reason to try to actually hate this girl. And then they're gonna flip it on all of us and call us dummies because we just like a little watch a little kid cooking with Kyle. You know what I'm saying? We ain't hurting nobody.
Did he paint Drake as a habitual liar, but he made him out to be the most evil, despicable person on the planet.
Right.
Drake hates black women.
He hates black women, hypersexualize them.
Drake is a misogynistic body shamer.
You a body shamer. You go hide them baby mamas, ain't you? You're a narcissist, misogynist.
Drake is a rat.
Yeah, I know some shit about niggas that make gonna wanna look like a saint.
Drake is a horrible father.
Waking them up, know nothing about that. Then tell them to pray, know nothing about that. And the fucking deadbeat that should never say more life. A child should never be compromised, and he keeping his child around him.
Drake is a terrible friend.
No, Wayne Grower, he was in jail. That's conniving.
Drake's own team even hates him.
Everyone inside your team is whispering that you deserve it.
Drake is a bully.
Fake bully, I hate bullies. You must be a terrible person.
Drake is a coward.
Understand, no throwing rocks and hiding hands. That's law.
Drake is a gambling addicted psychopath.
I'm blaming you for all his gambling addictions, psychopath intuition.
Drake is completely sadistic. The guy belongs in a padded room.
Your son's a sick man with sick thoughts. I think niggas like him should die.
Drake is a pedophile.
Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young.
And he's also a sex trafficker.
Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in a cell for the rest of their life. Or better yet, selling your niece.
Yeah, that's the like. Yeah, all of this weird shit he was saying, keep the family away, keep this away, and all of that, keep them away. Like, oh yeah, you was really peddling that this nigga was some next type of like, some next type predator, weird ass nigga, and it's like, where is it at? Where is this person at? Like, what are you talking about?
To the weirdo.
Again, the framework is good versus evil. If you're supporting Drake, you're pretty much co-signing all this other shit that
Exactly. And that's why I say too, and I've said this multiple times, Kendrick set out to make this shit not about the bars. It's not about to be about the bars. And this nigga said it perfectly. It's not about bars no more. This shit is about good and evil. This shit is about right versus wrong. That's what this nigga made the beef out to be. Degenerates versus righteous men.
I just told you about. Kendrick started planting these seeds very early on in the beef. The logic was to make Drake look like such a bad person that there's no way anything he would have to say would have any sort of truth to it. Then the allegations just kept getting worse and worse with every record. And because Kendrick set this thing up the way that he did, by the end of the beef, people were actually convinced that Drake was this person. And a lot of these things about Drake aren't even true.
Right. And that's the thing that a lot of these cake dots like to glaze over and act like it isn't a thing. But the important thing and even a lot of these journalists who are asking, like, wait, why would you sit here and compare what's going on with Jay-Z to what happened with Drake? It's because you motherfuckers actually believed it. It's because you niggas were convinced. It's because you had bitch ass niggas like Sean C who were like, oh, you know, I don't think I can morally continue to listen to Drake. Moist ass niggas like that. You know what I'm saying? Who actually believe the shit. Who were over here really peddling, really doing these little deep investigative dives and playing internet detective and making threads about how Drake is actually this degenerate ass pedophile ass nigga. The conversation stopped being about bars once it was about that. It was not about bar. Trust me, this is not about bar. This was a rap battle, the first rap battle in history that was not about bars. Because I promise you, you can't talk to any of his fans and you have a conversation going bar for bar, song for song, and the shit that was being said. They're not going to have that conversation with you. They only want to talk about false allegations that are not even fucking true, that have no basis, that have no legs to stand on. There's no proof. There's no victims. There's no whistleblower. There's no nothing. This shit is just pulled literally out of thin air and you niggas believe it.
But that didn't matter. This is a beef. He's not supposed to paint Drake in a positive light. In contrast, Kendrick painted himself as the complete opposite and gave the impression that he was nothing like Drake, that he could actually be trusted, and that he was a man of integrity and morals. He made it clear that he loves the children and that he's here for the children.
Put my children to sleep with a prayer, then close my eyes. Definition of peace. Because our children is the future, but he lives inside confusion. Teaching them morals, integrity, discipline. Listen, man, you don't know nothing about that.
He even said that he made his last album specifically for the children.
This the reason I made Mr. Morale, so our babies like you can cope.
He talks about how he understands women and what they go through, and he empathizes with them, and he's here to protect them.
Juggling.
Yeah, and like I said, that's a part of Kendrick's whole facade. I'm the I'm the super moral, the moral high ground, looking down on you degenerate ass niggas. I need to watch the party die because you niggas are just disgusting ass degenerates who just fucking destroy everything and make everything. That he positions himself as this, and his fans do too. So this is why when you talk to them, they have this condescending, like, as if the things that you have decided to partake in, the way that you live your life, the way that you go about, you know what I'm saying, is the problem. When people like Kendrick, and I'll say this till the cows come home. When people like Kendrick have actual power, they could be talking to these politics. Fuck talking to me, nigga. And if you are going to talk to me, then tell us how to actually use this power, nigga. Tell niggas how to really educate these niggas on the shit that they should be doing. Really mobilize niggas. This is why I can't get down with this whole Kendrick is this morally high ground nigga. He's not. He's not. Really break down and start putting together some game plans. Yo, we need to take over California. We need to get this Black Caucus going. We need to get these people out and some good people in. Like, what do you like? What? I don't get it. I feel like if this is the role that you're gonna play, and this is the people that people claim that he is, why isn't he doing these things? Why?
Inside this climate, oh, he should die so all of these women can live with a purpose. You're a woman, so you know how it feels to be in alignment. Nigga better not speak on Serena.
He makes clear distinctions between Drake's character and his character.
I make music that electrify him. You make music that pacify him. I'm allergic to the lame shit. Only you like being famous. Why would I call around trying to get dirt on niggas? Y'all think of my life as rap? That's whole shit. I got a son on the raid.
Do I really seem like the guy that's going to be digging up dirt on people? Like, that's a Drake thing. I got kids to raise.
I'm sorry that I live a boring life. I love peace.
Kendrick is all about the butterflies and the lullabies, and he sheds a tear every time a baby cries.
I don't have a hating bone in my body.
I don't have a hating bone in my body. I'm just here to protect everyone from all these perverts over here.
I'm looking to shoot through any pervert that lives, keep the family safe.
So when we really zoom out, this is the narrative that was painted that worked insanely well in the beef. Drake is someone that hates black women. I love all women. Drake is a deadbeat dad. I tuck my kids in with a prayer every night. Drake is a sadistic psychopath. I live a boring life that's all about love and peace. Drake is a habitual liar. I'm here to tell you guys the truth. Drake is a sick PDF file. I'm here to protect the children and women. And regardless of what's true and what's not true, didn't matter. Like, people.
That's a fact. That whole narrative and plan worked masterfully. It worked masterfully because, like he said, niggas actually started believing this shit.
People ate all this shit up,
despite the years of love Drake gave to the game. I mean, for goodness sakes, and honestly, never mind. The nigga married like what 50 bitches of every color, nationality, and like, come on, like what we talk, like what we talking about? Like, hold on, because my whole thing is when you got the nigga and you saying that, oh, you know what I'm saying, like he's a degenerate, he hates women, he's da 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 da. Like, first of all, Drake's funny. He makes shit like this. He does the shit where he's got all like, come, he hate black. What we talking about? What are we talking about? Thick, all like bad. Like, what you mean? Like, what you talking about, nigga? Is you good? Nah, like, is you really good? So when niggas be moving on all this weird shit, that's where I gotta call. It's like, yeah, I gotta relax.
Kendrick was incredibly smart with this approach because he already had somewhat of a sweetheart reputation, and Drake's very public life was anything but that. Kendrick knew exactly what he needed to do and say to craft a narrative of good versus evil, and it worked flawlessly. Kendrick Lamar came in on 10, right? Like he was very, very meticulous. All right, so the second thing that Kendrick did in his strategy of strangling a goat was that he put on a master class on how to validate the public. And he did this one extremely well. Outside of the fact that Kendrick brought forth every rumor and conspiracy theory in existence about Drake,
Facts. And this nigga's gonna sit here and play like, oh, I don't do any digging. Why would I dig? Why would I do this thing or do this and that? No, nigga, you a normal person. You was out here doing the same weird shit to me. Like nigga said, this is the act that you play. This is the stance that you took, and this is how you duped everybody into thinking that you're this on this, like I said, moral high ground from everybody else.
but he also knew exactly what to say to the audience to validate their pre-existing beliefs.
Somebody's lying, I can see the vibes on act. Even he looking compromised.
All right, so people are calling act compromised. Like that's the buzzword right now. I'm going to put that in the music.
Playing dirty with propaganda hit blow up on you. You're playing nerdy with Zach Bia and Twitter bots.
Again, these were all things mentioned by people before, but Kendrick understands what it is to validate the audience and their opinions. And that when he does this, they absolutely love it.
Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still double down, calling us some slaves.
People hated that line about slavery from Drake, and he knows that. He's been paying attention, so he puts it in the music. Another thing that Kendrick did extremely well was he painted the situation as if he was up against the industry in the battle.
And this was the furthest thing from the truth when the nigga has had the entire industry at his back the entire fucking time. Like, let's be serious, please, for a fucking second. Kendrick is an industry darling. I've said it once, I've said it again. We're not going to sit here and act like this is the nigga fighting the industry and fighting the good fight when everybody who he's supposed to be fighting the good fight against is at his back. The fuck are you talking about? They're propping him up.
Was here to expose information.
But the industry's cooked as I pick the carcass apart. Industry can hate me, fuck them all and they mama. Whoever that's fucking with them, fuck you niggas and fuck the industry too. I've been in this industry 12 years. I'ma tell y'all one little secret. There's some weird shit going on and some of these artists be here to police it.
In reality, Kendrick is the industry and he's not exposing anything that has.
Let's fucking go. What's the dirt? Tell these niggas what the fuck is going on, man. Tell these niggas what the fuck is going on, because this is the shit I've been saying, nigga. Like, stop playing with these niggas and tell them what the fuck we saying out here.
It's been discussed for decades now, but it's all about putting numbers on the board. Like, he knows these things are going to hit. Kendrick is insanely tapped into what's being said online. He understands how much people are drawn to these ideas, so he's given the people exactly what they want to hear.
My nigga finally said it, nigga. You are the industry, nigga. Now watch these niggas have their panties all up in a bunch talking about what's the dirt today, because he said what we all know and what got to be said. Kendrick is the industry, nigga. Who are you fighting against, nigga? Why are you? And this is the thing, you niggas be so locked into, oh, this is what hip hop really needs, and no, nigga, he is the industry. He is the company. He is the machine. He is UMG. Nigga, what the fuck are you niggas talking about? That's why he been in these niggas' good graces the whole time. And a nigga like Drake can tell these niggas to kiss his ass, nigga. He can tell them niggas to kiss his ass. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I deserve every dollar I'm asking for it.
And like I said, he takes this a whole step further because he positions it like he's the one that's up against the industry.
Him and Weinstein should get fucked up in a cell for the rest of their life.
The Weinstein and Drake comparisons were actively going on within Kendrick's community long before this track dropped, but Kendrick understands the power of validating the public's beliefs. It gives people a chance to say, oh shit, like I've been saying that for years, and now Kendrick's saying it. I was right.
And yeah, that is part of it too, because you know what I'm saying, and that's smart. I'm not gonna lie, that's smart. You should, but we knew, and we called this out. We knew that Kendrick was doing this shit while the beef was going on in real time. But at the end of the day, his fans don't care about that, because at the end of the day, like he said, you're being validated. Niggas is telling you all of the shit that you saying. Like, yeah, I got industry now. I've been in this game for 12 years. There's a lot of weird shit going on, and you know what, nigga, you're right. Shit like that do be going on, and you know what, nigga, Twitter user over there with no face, yeah, nigga, you're right too, nigga. All of you niggas are right. You're right. All of this weird shit is going on. So yes, that has been a part of the strategy. It's a masterful strategy.
Know exactly what you're doing, and this is all smart. Like, people loved it when he said things like this. Kendrick was masterful at this. He had a way of making people feel like they were part of something bigger, like they were special just for aligning with what he was saying.
The audience not dumb. Shape the stories how you want. Hey Drake, they're not slow. 5% will comprehend, but 95 is lost.
I hear that last quote all the time, and I'm not saying it's everybody here, but I hear that quote from literally some of the slowest people on the internet. I swear to God.
That's a fact.
The embassy about to get raided too.
But that's the thing. That's a part of the validation strategy. Is Kendrick makes a lot of these niggas feel like they're these Harvard graduates, like they're actually smart people. Like, he actually makes these people feel like their opinions and what they're saying is actually valid and it actually makes sense. He makes these niggas feel like that. And then a lot of these niggas have come from the whole college degrees and the HBCUs and all of this shit too. So they actually feel like they're smarter than you too, just because they went to college and they did this and they did that and they got a degree. But newsflash, a lot of those niggas are fucking retarded. A lot of those niggas have not lived real life or been through real life experiences. So they're robbed in a whole nother way.
It's only a matter of time.
Kendrick knows exactly what he's doing. He understands that narratives like this one will make people absolutely lose their minds. He's tapping into every boxed in and Reddit conspiracy theory, and fans are eating it up. Okay. He was really paying attention. Like, he studied this. He read everything. Nothing got past him in this beef. And look, a lot of people wrote this one off as bullshit, but after Not Like Us dropped, quite a few of Kendrick's lines were found to be old tweets from random Twitter accounts. At first, I felt this was also coincidental, but because I've noticed this obvious trend of him or his team using talking points from online, I personally can't rule this out anymore. And I'm not going to say it's 100% chance that he did this, but I'm also not going to say it's 0% either, because it's obvious he was getting talking points from the general public and the internet. Validating the public was an
that was one of the things that people were talking about, and you know, it seemed like he was getting dunked over for, but I don't really think that's something that they're gonna even hold against him, because like it falls into the whole validation thing. It falls into them. They don't care because they feel like, oh, see, this is the same shit. I've been saying this. I've been saying this. Now Kendrick is saying it, of course.
Extremely powerful tactic in his victory against Drake.
And not only that, these people feel even more empowered to go on and then further spread these theories and go deeper into them and do deeper digging and do all of this weird shit that they've been doing ever since the beef has happened. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's just weird. It's all weird shit.
But number 3 is equally as important, as Kendrick studied what works.
It was written like Nas, but it came from Quentin.
A huge part of Kendrick's game plan went into studying the results of Drake's previous beefs. What are the things that worked? What are the things that didn't work? And it's pretty obvious that Kendrick honed in on the methods used by Pusha T as he was successful at taking down Drake. On the story of Adidon, Pusha had a whole bunch of shots towards Kendrick's mom, his dad, like the family. He had lots of angles about that.
Marriage is something that Sandy never had, Drake. Dennis Graham, stay off the gram, bitch, I'm on one.
Meet the Grams is essentially an extension of what Pusha did with Drake. It was like the story of Adidon on steroids, as Kendrick would take it a step further by writing personal letters to each family member.
Dear Adonis, dear Sandra, dear Dennis.
Between these two records, there is a lot of similarities.
Deadbeat motherfucker playing border patrol.
And a fucking deadbeat that should never say more life.
Your father walked away at 5, hell of a dad thing.
His father probably didn't claim him neither.
Kendrick would also use very similar angles in the battle, like questioning Drake's blackness.
Confused, always felt you weren't black enough. Afraid to grow it cause your fro wouldn't nap enough.
How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough?
And Kendrick would also use the angle of pitting Drake's team against him by planting seeds of doubt within his camp.
It wasn't that she was divulging it.
She divulges to 40.
Yeah.
She's having sex with
Telling her nigga.
Have you ever thought that OVO is working for me?
And this worked because Kendrick was able to get inside Drake's head, and it was really messing with him.
Everything you wanted, it's right here, y'all.
Find your perfect domain name and start turning your daydream into your dream job. Go to Wix Domains and make it happen.
Oh shit.
This nigga send me a rat emoji.
Kendrick also took note of just how effective revealing a shocking secret was and how this ultimately won the battle for Pusha. In fact, Kendrick took such great note of this that he even came with the exact same secret.
You are hiding a child.
He's hiding another child.
And that's why I think that most of the Meet the Gram shit, that whole, you got to throw that whole thing out of the, you got to throw that whole thing away. Not only did it have no bars, like I proved in the debate episode that we had, and if you haven't checked that out, please go ahead and check that episode out. It was a great debate that we had. But like I proved there, there's not a whole lot of grounds to stand on when it comes down to that whole song. There's no bars. The entire shit is a lie. Nothing stuck. You didn't even really. I don't even think he kept that track up, or if it's even on DSPs. Like, come on. I mean, the shit was trash. Let's just be honest.
Now, does Drake have a daughter? I can't rule it out. Like, I don't know Drake. I don't think he does, but it's possible. Like I said, Kendrick really hates Drake, and I think he played this shit like Moneyball. What can I say that'll get me on base? What's going to get points? What worked in the past? What are the general public saying? All this was taken into account, not just in 2024, but for over a decade. When Kendrick said that he had 5 more in stock, like 5 more in the chamber, I totally believe him, because I think he was sitting on so much material that there's a lot he didn't even use. And some might call this level of hatred crazy, but Kendrick knew this day was coming, and he came in on 10. From his perspective, this is hip-hop, and hell is going to have to freeze over for Drake to ever get the upper hand. There was just no way he was taking an L to Drake. No fucking way. Moving on to number 4 in Kendrick's...
Yeah, he probably would have stopped rapping after that, which we would have. We wish would have happened, but it's all good.
strategy of how to strangle a goat is without a doubt the timing of his records. This one is very, very important. You can't engage in a battle without laying down some bait, and Kendrick lured Drake into this thing in a very strategic way.
He did. And at the end of the day, when he dropped the Like That verse and he lowered first J. Cole, and then when it came to J. Cole, it was like, oh shit, now it is almost like Drake had to say something after that, because at the end of the day, J. Cole jumped out and then apologized. And subsequently, like I said, it was the writing was already on the wall for Drake when he responded. You know what I'm saying? There was already people talking crazy. I think Ross was bumping the record and doing little weird shit. There was already, the stage was already being set for his L, regardless of what he was about to do or what he would have said. The stage was already being set for his L at that point.
Talking about timing, 2 days before this record dropped, Drake and J. Cole had just finished a joint tour. They were on a whole wave of positivity, giving each other flowers, promoting each other's music, making records together. And I know this is a Future and Metro track, but this was definitely discussed, and Kendrick wanted this thing to drop at this time. He pretty much was like, okay, yeah, I see your little bromance you guys got going on. That's cool, that's cute. I'll wait for that to be over, but I'm about to shake this thing up.
But this is hip hop, and them niggas should know what time it is.
To say Kendrick drew inspiration from his own Control verse would be an understatement. We all know the impact that this Control verse had, and if
Yeah, I mean, there was the talk of hip hop when that shit came out, and it really didn't amount to anything after that because Kendrick didn't respond to anybody that responded to him after that, which it was hip hop. Niggas should know what time it is. You called everybody out, but you know what I'm saying? But it didn't really amount to anything at the end of the day.
if it's not broken, there's no need to fix it.
Motherfuck the big three. Nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
So Kendrick pretty much said, I know how effective this is. I'm going to follow the same blueprint again. I'm going to hop on a guest feature and go completely nuts. But this time I'm going to build on it and be far more direct.
For all your dogs getting buried, that's a K with all these nines.
And again, timing is really important on this because Drake still had a few shows left from his solo tour. So while this record is going absolutely nuts, Drake can't escape this thing. He has to listen to it. He has to hear about it. He has to watch it go number one. And the thing that the boy loves the most is going number one.
I got my fucking head up high, my back straight. I'm 10 fucking toes down. And I know that no matter what, it's not a nigga on this earth that could ever fuck with me in my life.
However, the essence of timing his drop strategically only continues throughout this beef. Drake would drop push-ups and tailor-made, and it's here where Kendrick goes quiet. No post on social media, no public statements, nothing. And this was also
Drake is on that drop timing, and that's when this nigga went quiet. Now I think this is when he started strategizing and really planning how he was going to come at Drake and really dissect him. This is when he chose, all right, this is where I'm going to go with. This is the material. This is the angle. Basically everything that this nigga has been talking about in this video up until now. This is where he took it and said, okay, I'm going to take this angle in position, and it's time to play chess. You see the chess, it's time to play chess after that.
Deliberate strategy as he gave Drake a false sense of security in the beef. Drake really thought he had this thing in the bag. He really thought Kendrick was stumped and didn't even think he was going to respond.
I know you're in that NY apartment, you're struggling right now. I know it.
But boy, was he wrong. While Drake trolled Kendrick on social media, Kendrick was looking at this thing like an actual war. A good chess player might predict their opponent's next move, but a great player predicts the next couple of moves. It was during this period of being quiet where I believe Kendrick was simply tweaking his strategy. What am I going to use against Drake? What am I going to hold back? What style of record will I drop here? What style of record will I end off with? I believe Kendrick recorded a bunch of different diss records, and they will be used or not used based on what Drake's next move was. Okay, if Drake does this, I got this for him. But if he goes over here with it, I'm gonna give him this one. I think he had a bunch of. I think he was really prepared.
Right, which that's a testament to a great strategist, and that's commendable. You know what I'm saying? There's, when it comes down to strategizing and going into how you was really going to break this down and break him down subsequently, it was a great strategy. He did his thing with that. But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? That's how the game is played, and that's a large part of why he won, especially when it came to Not Like Us.
And if we're going to talk about timing, Kendrick's next drop might just be the greatest play in the history of hip-hop beef, as Drake chose to go with a fairly melodic, upbeat record.
Hands on your knees, shake that ass for Drake, now shake that ass for free.
Okay, so Drake went the melodic route, something like back to back. Perfect, just what I expected. I got just the record to completely suck the life out of this thing.
Your son got some habits, I hope you don't undermine them.
56 minutes after Family Matters, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams, and holy shit, what a difference in tone. What a difference stylistically. It was the perfect record to drop after a track like Family Matters. Like, perfect. Meet the Grams was not something to dance to. This was dark, scathing, very personal. If you turn this shit on, you would probably only scare the women away. But again, the most important part of this is 100% all about the timing. Let's just live in a world where Family Matters had a chance to breathe a little bit. Let's say Kendrick didn't respond until a couple days later. Well, first off, the allegations levied by Drake would have had way more room to circulate, and fans would have set an expectation for Kendrick to at least address the shit that Drake said.
Right.
But what Meet the Grams did was it stepped on it so bad that it's like nothing we've ever seen. Secondly, Family Matters
Yeah,
isn't the type.
because like you just pointed out, Kendrick didn't have to respond to any of that, and it wasn't because a lot of this shit was pre-recorded, and he said, and like he said, when Drake was going to drop this, I got that. You know what I'm saying? If he drops a song like this, then I'm going to hit him with this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to hit him with the more rap one, the more boom bap one. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a couple of different angles to be like, all right, boom. Because like I said, Drake is on tour. He's not worried about or thinking about Kendrick. So Kendrick lined all of this shit up with this shit in motion and in mind that, okay, I got these shits already. And not only that, this nigga's been planning this shit for a while. So of course he already studied how to do this and get them. And he made this his life mission.
Type of record you want hanging around for a couple days on its own. The track was pretty catchy, and the last thing you want is this thing shifting into back-to-back territory. It could have went there. It definitely could have went there if Kendrick delayed the drop of Meet the Grams. Like, the dynamic where this beef went could have drastically changed. And there's also the fact that Kendrick already knew exactly what Drake was going to come with because Drake revealed his angles on Push-Ups and on Tailor Made, which was a huge mistake by Drake, revealing his hand. It's like he thought, okay, I got these allegations against Kendrick. This will be enough to really fuck him up in this beef. But what Kendrick did was he crafted a strategy knowing what he was going to say that totally took the power away from all of it. Genius. However, once the shock factor went away, people started picking apart the verse about the daughter. A lot of people were claiming that sonically Meet the Grams had zero replay value. And that's something I agree with, is I just don't see who's listening to this on a day-to-day basis. But most diss records aren't hits. Like, battling is not about dancing. It's about who can disrespect the other person more. And Meet the Grams, in this case, checked all the boxes. But the game...
Right. Regardless, that one was to take the air out the room, like he said, and it didn't have to have any bars. It didn't have to have any truth because everybody was just looking at this shit like, what the fuck? This shit better not be true. Like, this shit can't be, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of crazy when it did come out. Now looking back at it in hindsight, it was a nothing burger.
Game of chess was far from over. Kendrick,
but it was a good move. It was a good move nonetheless because it did what it was supposed to do at the time.
Recognized that Meet the Grams alone might not be enough to counter someone with Drake's hit-making ability. So within 24 hours, he delivered an absolute bop.
Hey, put the roll label on me, I'm gonna get him dropped.
Now Kendrick not only has a scathing and disrespectful track in Meet the Grams, but he's also delivered the perfect counter to Family Matters, as Not Like Us was an even bigger record. The record is a full-blown smash, and the timing was impeccable. And by the way, guys, this How to Strangle a Goat video is all about analyzing Kendrick's moves during the battle. I've got another video lined up titled Kendrick's Victory Lap, where we're going to break down everything he did after the battle. The moves that he made after the battle, to me, is equally as impressive. Like, I want to make a really good piece on it. And by the way, if you want something dope to remember the beef by, This is my merch right
Yeah,
here,
go
and
ahead
what
and
I
fuck
did
with
was
me
I
and
like
merch. That's just
encompassed
hard. I
all
need
the
to
diss
fuck with.
tracks
Definitely got a cop one.
into Drake. Kind of goes without
Yeah, let's
saying.
get into
It was when he weaponized the culture against him. He's so good at doing this that people don't even realize like what he's doing.
Then notice I said we.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize what he's doing because a lot of people. I mean, you got to realize it's election time, election year. A lot of culture is being weaponized at that time. A lot of people are really in their feelings. A lot of people like it was even the perfect year to do the shit. You know what I'm saying? It was even the perfect timing of the year to do it on the election year where people are the most erratic and crazy and polarizing. I mean, yeah, it was almost the perfect time to do this shit.
Not just me, I'm what the culture feeling.
Kendrick played this all really smart because he's positioning himself as the person that's speaking for everybody. Drake is the imposter, and I'm here to stand up for what's right. I'm doing this for all of us.
Tell them run to America to imitate heritage. They can't imitate this violence.
And it's lines like this one where he deliberately makes the distinction between Canada and America. This is also really clever because now he's making the beef about geography. Kendrick's right. Like, we're not going to let these Canadians copy us. And many people.
Right. And trying to weaponize the culture, all of America, Atlanta against the nigga to be like, hey, he's the culture. I mean, it didn't work, but this is the narrative that he built that worked that for the time. And people ran with it. And people didn't like he said, niggas didn't even realize what was happening because they just quickly forgot all that Drake himself has done for the culture, for black people, and they forgot that the nigga is even black. The nigga is if not blacker than some of you niggas who are over here criticizing him, telling him he's a culture vulture, and telling him he is a Canadian, need to and just be here stealing swag and all this kind of crazy shit that y'all was saying.
People don't take notice to little things like this, but it's one of many ways that Kendrick subtly shaped the narrative. It's like he's saying, look, I don't know who else is with me here, but I'm American. We made this culture. This other guy, he's from Canada. This guy's a total outsider.
Somebody had told me that you got a ring. On God, I'm ready to double the wage. I'd rather do that than let a Canadian nigga make Pac turn in his grave.
Are we really going to let this Canadian, who's not part of our culture, take Pac's ring? I'm going to be the one to stand on business here. This is going to resonate with people in hip-hop because who doesn't like Tupac? Like
that, and on top of that too, a lot of the people who never liked Drake, never liked his kind of music, never liked what he stood for, the super boom bap rapidy rappy crowd, they also feel like this is their time. The people from that era, yeah, they feel like it's finally time somebody come and take this nigga down in our way, in our style. You know what I'm saying? Doing it our way. Rapping like us, bringing our style with it. Yeah, this was an element of it too.
Guy is an icon.
I even hate when you say the word nigga, but that's just me, I guess.
Kendrick is pretty much saying, look, this could just be me, but I personally don't like the way that Drake says that. Like, I don't know about you guys.
We don't want to hear you say nigga.
Yeah, and niggas is really having deep dives about even about that too, about him saying nigga and all type of shit. Like niggas is really deep diving in breaking down if this nigga is white or black and all type of weird shit. Same people who are telling you that Kamala Harris is a black woman and you shouldn't be over here asking any questions. And these are the same people, I promise you.
No more.
Stop. We don't want to hear you say that anymore. Another brilliant tactic that Kendrick employed in this beef was when he removed all the copyright claims from his diss tracks on YouTube. This allowed creators to make money off reactions, breakdowns, and reviews, and was a masterfully calculated move. Not only did it earn him immense respect within the hip-hop community, but it also amplified the reach of his tracks, spreading them to an even bigger audience. I mean, this is unheard of. No one has ever done this before, and what a play. He pulled out every stop that he could in this beef. And of course, as this is very much intertwined with culture, a big part of Kendrick's strategy was also painting Drake as not just an outsider, but a complete culture vulture as well.
How many more black features till you finally feel that you're black enough?
And that's such a bar too, like the black features because he had the braids, and then the black features like musically. Such a bar.
There's no accent you can sell me. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. Yachty can't give you no swag neither. I don't give a fuck about who you hanging with.
Pitting the culture against Drake was the best angle that Kendrick could have ever took in this beef.
Right.
He took a strong position of painting Drake as an outsider whilst making people feel like they were also part of the fight. And it totally worked. It didn't just work. Like, this really, really worked. At this point, you can see that Kendrick's strategy is 100% dialed already, but the sixth aspect that he implemented in order to defeat Drake was that he beat Drake at his own game.
And shout out all my boss, bitches, wife, and niggas.
Who could forget Back to Back, the hit record that Meek Mill couldn't get away from as it was constantly being played at sporting events, on the radio, nightclubs, and triggered countless online memes. Sound familiar?
Yeah, he back to back. He hit him with the back to back in his own game. He gave him a dose of his own medicine, and it's no denying that because the shit is over here, and a part of that is because, like we said, Kendrick's the industry, so of course this shit is going to be played at all of these sporting events and this and that and whatever the case may be because he's going to be propped up at this time. This is all of these things happening and working in cohesion, and you seeing it manifest with all the shit that happened following that record dropping.
And this also ties into studying Drake's previous beefs because he clearly looked at his approach with Meek.
What better way to humiliate Drake than by hitting him exactly where it hurts by dominating a space that he takes great pride in being the best at, being number one on the charts. You don't need to have a technical ear for recognizing what a hit record sounds like to know that Not Like Us was destined to be a number one record. I wasn't even halfway through the record when I paused it and looked at my girl and said, he's got a number one record here. Like, this is out of here. Kendrick's got one. This is a major, major problem for Drake, this record. Not Like Us is not even just a hit. It's a full-on smash, meaning I don't think this record is going anywhere for a very long time. I personally
it's not.
Don't see a time in at least the next decade where this record isn't being played at some capacity. There's a big difference in a hit and a smash.
Let me hurt that, so you gotta hurt back.
Do you know that Joe Budden still gets a nice check every year from this record? A track he did over 20 years ago? And that's because Pump It Up is one of those tracks that you'd be hard-pressed not to hear at a ball game. And I feel like Not Like Us is also one of those records. What's more impressive about Not Like Us is it's a diss record. It's a diss record that is a smash. I'm just going to go off top here and say that 98% of diss tracks will just come and go. Very seldom does that.
Yeah, no, you don't get a lot on this scale or level. And when we all heard it, we all knew it was a bop. It was. There's no denying that shit. It was a bop. All of us was playing it. And it was for the culture at the time and all of that shit. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, it's hard not to give the respect where it's due, and that's what we always going to do. But at the end of the day, too, when it comes down to bars versus bars and a rap beef, Drake did have the better song. But Kendrick played too many, had too many plays. It was the way he dropped it. It was the time he dropped it. You know what I'm saying? It was the things he was. It was too much.
Artists catch one where they're disrespecting someone and it's at the top of the charts at the same time. We can pretty much count those on one hand. So when it comes to beating Drake at his own game, Kendrick literally secured the biggest diss record of all time. I didn't say it was the best diss record, but it's definitely the biggest. It's definitely the most successful. And if you don't like the record, your life is gonna suck because I don't think it's going anywhere. Like you're gonna have to listen to this for quite some time. I really believe that. And one thing that we could say about Drake is he's really good with quotables in his music. And this is something else that Kendrick outperformed him in, as he had far more standout lines than Drake. I'm talking about a part where the DJ kills the music and then everyone's singing that part back.
What is it, the breaks? Motherfuck the big three. Nigga, it's just big me. Certified lover boy, certified pedophile. Freaky ass nigga, he a 69 god. Wah, wah, wah.
It really is an art to be really good at doing these types of things, but notice that Kendrick, he uses like specific things that he wants to make sure these are the things that ring off. These are the things that I want people to remember, and all that's done with intent. Next, I want to get into some noteworthy items that Kendrick used that I can't really group into a category, but they're all equally as important. These are all still huge factors in the beef and how he won. First off, the public's perception of Drake, even before this beef started, wasn't really at its best.
Nah.
People were shitting all over.
And yeah, that's a fact too. Like I said, not only did he wait for the perfect time, and he waited for the perfect year to where people was already trying to get at the boy. He was already, you know what I'm saying, at odds with his label for certain things, and we probably will soon find out. But you know, he was already at odds, and going through a year. But like a lot of Drake projects, they age like fine wine. We see and appreciate For All the Dogs even more now. But yeah, he's right. It wasn't a good year as far as public perception when it comes down to Drake all the way. But that Her Loss tour, I mean, come on, Drake was over there fucking killing. But you talk about perception when these niggas was over here walking through every city like kings. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, most definitely. I don't think it was as bad, but yeah, shit was starting to wane and look a little shaky because people were already like I said, the stage was already set for Drake's L. People were already salivating for it. People was already starting to get tired of certain things. The Meg the Stallion crowd and the certain black women, you already know how it go with them. They were starting to get tired of him. You have the old head OGs who never liked this nigga, who took this moment and said, okay, yes, this is the time. Like I said, there's a nigga who's rapping like us. There's a nigga who's approaching it like us. He's the guy. He's going to do finally what we've been waiting on. The shit that Meek was supposed to do. He's finally going to do it. And there was a lot of groups and crowds who were just waiting, including players in the industry and artists who were just ready for this moment and ready to back Kendrick in this moment. And this is why we say Kendrick is the industry, because the industry basically told Kendrick, and Kendrick looked around and was like, okay, yeah, now, because ain't nobody going to help you. Nobody's going to save you. Nobody's going to stand up in your defense. Nobody's about to say nothing. It's just you versus me and all these niggas.
Over his last album, and then he had beefs with a bunch of other artists. The optics of all the issues that Drake had with other people over the years had completely compounded. And it was one of those things where people would say, is it really all these other people that's the problem, or could it be Drake? And all this did was really help Kendrick's moral man strategy, where it's like, okay, I'm a really good guy, but like everyone's hating on this guy. Could it really be me? It really helped. Next, the two artists.
Yeah, because niggas was either dissing Drake or playing the record, and that was taken as a sign of, you know what I'm saying, disrespect. You know, i.e. DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, shit like that. So a lot of people was looking at it at that time like, damn, like, why the fuck? And even, you know, you tune into Act, this nigga's like, yeah, You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of niggas who just don't like this nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Niggas was waiting on this. So niggas was they was waiting on this moment. You know what I'm saying? They used to pray for times like this.
Completely different lifestyles. Kendrick has maintained a very private life, while Drake has been highly public. Drake's history includes a bunch of beefs and scandals.
Yeah, and Drake puts his life and that's what comes with putting so much and giving so much of yourself to the public and the fans. That's just what comes with it. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, but it can be weaponized against you a lot of the times, and it was. Real ones know what it is, but a lot of people, like I said, when they're ready to see that giant fall, they're gonna help that person pull you down. They're gonna be ready for it. They're not gonna stop. They're not gonna do anything to stop it. They're not gonna say anything in your defense, or you know what I'm saying, try to help you back up, nigga. Like, you feel me? It's a long way down, and then you got to get yourself back up because these niggas is waiting for you to fall.
Where Kendrick had plenty of material to draw from, while Drake didn't really have much data at all.
Kendrick's a tough person to go up against in a beef because there's not much there aside from his art, his music, and maybe a few things you might have heard about him.
Another brilliant aspect of Kendrick's approach is his use of subliminal Easter eggs. That weird noise at the beginning of 616, which drove me crazy. The KTW thing also drove me nuts.
The Elohim KTW.
That looping sample that he used that sounded like it said Boy Wonder. He truly incorporated a wealth of these Easter eggs throughout the whole beef.
I can double down on that line, but spare you this time. I be at New Hall King eating fried rice with a dip sauce and a blammy crow. Find the Jews like Cash Dog. I just need you to think. And one of them is actually next to you.
And all this did was add a layer of mystique to Kendrick's music, and it kept fans talking. Some of the things that he mentioned in this beef are things that people are still trying to dissect today. It had people going nuts, including me. Like, what in the fuck is he talking about? This guy's on some, like, jigsaw, cryptic, crazy shit. Like, Kendrick's demented. Kendrick is, like, a madman. Like, that all helps, and Drake barely had any of these. Another really intelligent choice made by Kendrick was that he opted out of entertaining any of the allegations that Drake had against.
Yeah, he didn't respond to shit. And part of that could probably be because, like nigga said, he already had this shit pre-crafted and ready to go. But at the end of the day, he didn't respond to any allegations, and nobody held him accountable, asking the questions and, you know, really doing the digging besides some OVO crazies on him, as like they were doing to Drake and making it seem like, you know, this shit was credible and valid. So yeah, and a lot of people was fighting fire with fire, but it was getting crazy out here, so I don't blame him.
Against him. Kendrick decided not to even bother with addressing any of Drake's claims because he already saw the power in his strategy in painting Drake as a liar, and he knew damn well that dropping Meet the Grams 56 minutes after Family Matters would completely void Drake's claims anyways. The man set the whole thing up, so he didn't even need to respond. In fact, what he did was Kendrick placed the ball right into Drake's court, making it so that Drake had to address Kendrick's allegations. Why do you think we got the Heart Part 6?
I'm way too famous for the shit you just suggested, but
at the end of the day, Kendrick was waiting for this moment for a very long time, and it shows. He crafted an impeccable strategy that included 1, the moral man tactic.
Yeah, we're gonna end it there. Hey, what's the dirt? Great motherfucking video. As always, the man took his time with this one and really crafted a masterful fucking project for us here. Yeah, I think he's spot on with 98% of the shit in this video here, and you really can't be mad at it. Like I said, another great video. And yeah, I mean, just looking back, a lot of people might look at this beef a different way. I know I'll stand by it and say that Drake won this beef. when we talking bars, when we're talking the best song in the beef, the best bars, at the end of the day, the way Drake approaches this shit, like the king, Kendrick had no choice but to be this masterful in his planning. But at the same time too, Kendrick had a lot of industry help as far as intel goes, as far as disgruntled niggas goes, as far as people feeding him when it comes down to timing and information and all of these things. Because at the end of the day, you still had niggas in EXO friends. You still got niggas in EXO friends with niggas, you know what I'm saying, in the weekends camp. I think that might have played a part. And a lot of us is ignoring that shit right about now because it looks like, oh yeah, they hanging out together, they cool. But that might have played a part in why it seemed like this nigga was a little bit of a step ahead. So at the end of the day, Drake was playing a losing game and he still played anyway. He played masterful and he had the best song in the beef. He delivered the best bars and he did what he was supposed to do with that. At the end of the day, Kendrick still delivered a masterful strategy. There's still going to be people who walk away and say that he won the beef. I can't argue with that. I understand. I'm going to argue with that, but I can understand that, I should say, rather. I completely understand that, but I'm gonna go with Drake as winning this shit and did win this shit thoroughly. A lot of people try to disqualify Taylor Made for weird ass reasons and shit like that, but I think that track should be factored in a lot more than what it was. Niggas can call it distasteful, all of this weird shit, but all of the niggas calling it distasteful were perfectly fine with Drake being labeled a pedophile for no fucking reason. So, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of inconsistencies in this beef, and as time goes on, we're going to see, you know what I'm saying, how perception continues to shape around this thing, because there's still many conversations, many ripples in the waves after this explosion of a beef. And we're still seeing the effects damn near almost a year later. We're going to continue to, you know what I'm saying? The Super Bowl still hasn't happened yet. Drake is still suing UMG. And so we're going to continue to see more conversations around this beef. But I've had you guys here for about 3 hours now. Yeah, I hope you guys had a little something to smoke on. You guys been relaxing, chilling. Yeah, I had a great time here. I did have one more topic to get through, but I think we did enough cleaning for today, clearing out these topics. We're going to get a nice clean slate on with my niggas from Potty Mouth. Shout out to them, because yeah, we got some more shit to break down when it comes down to the Drake and Kendrick Lamar shit. So I'll probably make a separate video on that by itself. But yeah, this one has been long enough. So yeah, we got to start getting this joint edited and out. But I appreciate anybody who stuck with me and watched the video, stayed here for 3 hours, or maybe you popped in, popped out. Hey, we appreciate anybody coming in. You just listening for a minute or two. Yeah, you're listening for the full episode. We appreciate y'all niggas for stopping in. I have been your boy have been your boy Dope Boy Diesel. Y'all know what it is. My bad. Y'all know what it is. Follow your boy on all platforms. I appreciate you for stopping here with me. If you would like to join the Doja Room at any point in time, give your opinions, break down some of this shit with me, hey, step on in. Let's roll a blunt together. Let's break down some topics. You know what I'm saying? If you have a disagreement, let's battle it out. All are welcome. Hit your boy. You see it on the screen at Dope Boy Diesel on all platforms. Even when it comes down to the music, if you want to go listen to your boy, run them plays up, you can listen to your boy on all platforms. Dope Boy Diesel. I appreciate you guys on YouTube, my subscribers. Thank you guys for stopping in. It's always a pleasure. And this has been the Doja Room here in another episode. We're going to end it. All right, now you guys roll one up for the road. Get on out of here. Get home safe. And I hope you guys have a good motherfucking night. It's been wonderful here in the Doja Room. We're gonna roll one more up. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah. Hey, this that special sauce. Spill that drip, I wipe it off. $1 million worth of game. Can't feel that I work too hard. Poetry only needs